All right, now I'm gonna be sanding and prepping all the plastics, just the red plastic. I was able to use a heat gun on the black plastic to bring the black back. But this red plastic, my plan is to sand it with 600 grit. I've got an orbital sander and I've got some hand sand. I'm gonna try it dry first. I may have to wet sand, but it's got a bunch of, you can kind of see and hear it, but all these little scratches, and it's completely faded. This, you can see where I tried the heat gun, and I did multiple passes, but I mean, you can see just the sheer difference of fade. I mean, this is nearly white, but it's super ugly pink color. But I've got all new decals coming in for it, even warning stickers and labels. So we're gonna peel all those off, sand it, prep it, and get her painted up. All right, guys, to save y'all the trouble of watching me sand all the parts, I just went ahead and did it off camera. Some of the parts I had to use 240 grit to get some of the deeper scratches. Now, I'm not gonna be filling those scratches. I don't have the time, and it's, you know, this bike is not gonna be a show bike. Anyways, so some of the areas I used 240, then I went over with 320, and then I went over with 600, and that was all using that Milwaukee Orbital. Made it super simple, pretty quick. I probably spent 4 to 5 hours doing all the parts, went over them real good. As far as the painting process goes, I did find a paint that is a pretty much exact match. It is Gloss Apple Red from Rust-Oleum, and this is the one that can work on plastics. And to show you how close of a match it is, I just did a test strip on the bottom of this fender. And the reason I did that is because the sun doesn't touch that, and this is pretty much the color it came from the factory. Now the test strip is right there. You can see where I painted, but as far as a match goes, it's almost identical. Now I did read on some forums, people were using Krylon Fusion Banner Red, and I did some tests, and you can tell the immediate difference here. Hopefully the camera will pick it up well. So this is the Banner Red. This is the Gloss Apple Red. You can tell how dark the Banner Red is compared to the Gloss Apple Red. And on the bottom of this panel here, that's Banner Red. You see how dark, and I mean, this is kind of unprepped. I just did the bottom just to see. You can tell the difference. See how there's how fluid that is versus, you can just tell how dark the Banner Red is. So anyways, I returned the Banner Red. I got the Apple Red. It works great. As far as painting these panels, like I said, I already sanded them. I'm gonna wipe them down with mineral spirits. And then I have this right here, which is Rust-Oleum Adhesion Promoter. This is key to painting plastics. It's definitely gonna help keep the paint on there, not flake off, and so on. Now there is another brand of adhesion promoter It's called Bully Dog, but it's like $40 a can, and I just don't feel like spending the money on that. This was, I think, 14 bucks. It should do the same thing. I do have some tack cloths, so gonna mineral spirit it, tack cloth it, spray the adhesion promoter. The adhesion promoter only takes less than a minute to dry, and then you can immediately start applying the red. So we're gonna start off with the small parts and then do the bigger parts. All right, I've got one coat of paint on all of the plastics, and I'm telling you, this color is awesome. It lays down nice, covers really well, and the color is just, it's perfect, honestly. Now I'm gonna do 3 coats on all the plastics, and then I'm basically just gonna store them away for a few days so they don't get touched. I just want this paint to fully cure before even messing with it, before even clearing it. But I mean, this is just one coat, and it came out great. Now here's the thing, I did not paint in there. It's dirty, that's the battery box, no one's gonna see it. That's how close this color matches. There is a slight difference, but I mean, it is so close. So, got all these done. Now that right there, that's just a shadow from the backside. You won't see that whenever it's fully done. But it came out awesome. I'm so happy with this color. Now I'm not gonna film me painting the rest because it's literally what you just saw in the time lapse is what I'm gonna do 2 more times. And then after paint, I should have all my plastics in, and I'll clear it and then give it a few more days, and then we'll start putting the bike back together. All right, now that I got the red plastics painted and curing, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the metal. I've got the front cargo carrier, the rear, I've got the diff cover, the rear diff cover, and then I also have this front cover right here, but the bolts are pretty seized in there and I don't feel like snapping a bolt. So I'll just be cleaning that up and painting it on the four-wheeler itself. I'm going to eventually spray everything in, but right now I'm still waiting on some parts to put that all back together. But yep, let's get this painted. I'm gonna be using this wire wheel on a grinder and then just some Rust-Oleum performance enamel. All right, I've got everything painted, gloss black with this Rust-Oleum enamel. Got 2 to 3 coats on all of it. Some of it got 3. I forgot to show the foot pegs, and also forgot to show this front brush guard. Completely forgot, but basically did the same thing. Got 2 coats on all of it, and she's looking good. All right, let's try and get some clear on these parts. I've let them cure for a few days. I'm gonna be lightly scuffing with a gray scuff pad, tack clothing, and then clearing with the Rust-Oleum clear. Well, this was a major fail. I guess painting with Rust-Oleum paint and then their clear does not work together. So you can see, got a nice coat on there and it just absolutely ruined the paint. So I'm gonna have to reattack, maybe try a different clear, but this is all gonna have to get sanded off and redone. All right, round two of trying to get these parts cleared. I've got the Krylon Fusion all-in-one gloss clear. As y'all saw in the other one, the Rust-Oleum clear just totally ruined the paint. So same process, we're gonna very lightly scuff it with the gray pad, then tack cloth it, and then spray the clear. Well, fail number two. Apparently, no clear coat will work on this Rust-Oleum paint and primer. I've tried 3 different clears and I'm getting the same results. I tried a very light dusting coat and then a second light dusting coat, and this is the result. So I'm gonna have to repeat the process, and I guess I'm not gonna be able to clear these. I'm just gonna run it as is. I sanded that one. I'm just gonna put a fresh coat of red paint on it, and hopefully it holds up. All right, so since I can't find a clear that'll work, this will work just fine. Yes, it'll probably scratch off, but I can just touch it up if need be. So let's go ahead and get this rear installed. All right, the Honda is complete. A lot of the stuff when putting it back together was kind of hard to video, so I just went ahead and put it all back together. I mean, it was mainly just putting all the panels back on and these little pop rivets, but she's all complete, got her washed up, and she turned out great. Now, this seat, I don't know if it's the stock seat. I measured it, it looks fine, but there's a big gap right here. I'm not really sure why it's doing that, but I've got all of the decals on. Looks fantastic. Now I will say the paint, you know, it's unfortunate that I couldn't get a clear coat on it, but you know, in reality this is fine, because when I was putting it back together, I think on this side I did scratch the paint a little bit here, but you know, I just resprayed it, really just a little touch up. So I'm gonna rock it like this and hopefully it lasts. It probably won't, but you know, if I do scratch it, I can just, you know, touch it up. If I had the clear on there and it scratched, I wouldn't be able to do that, but I think it turned out great. This is new, and then these rear are new as well, and then you can see these right here are original, and I used the heat gun. There is more of a sheen to these with the heat gun than there is that, but you know, for the sake of this build, I think it's fine. Total all-in cost, the price of the four-wheeler was $1,000, and then all the parts combined, tires, everything as you see right here, we're sitting at $1,600. So total $2,600 for a 4x4 Honda Rancher. I think is a pretty good deal. It's the 2006 or 7, I done forgot already. 2007. So and everything works. We can go ahead and start it real quick. I did get a little Honda keychain for it, but let's see. She starts right up, and then let's see. Now let's shut it off here. The only negative is this LCD is burnt up, but I mean, you can still read it. Let's see here, 110, I don't know if that's, or 1100. Oh, that's the time, sorry. Let's see here, sometimes these buttons work, sometimes, there we go. So we got 330 hours total on this machine. I'm trying to get it to focus, there it goes. It looks like 3,300, but there's a little decimal point right there. 330 total hours on this machine, which is crazy to me. I'm trying to get the odometer to, there it goes. 1,907 miles. So I think that's a pretty good deal for this bike. And you know, in my area, these bikes are going for 3,500 plus bucks. So, and it came with the ITP wheels, which I guess everyone wants. But those tires came from Walmart. You know, I didn't want to get the ITP tires because, you know, this is just a mess around bike. You know, I'll take it hunting, but this is mainly just for the kids to ride around in the yard with me on. But I think she turned out great for 2,600 bucks all in cost. I mean, she looks good, and it's a Honda, you can't kill it. So I think I do need to check the valves and clearance and all that. I probably need to reshim or readjust. There is some ticking, but I've seen that, you know, that's kind of common on these Ranchers. But as far as this video, this is part 2, and I think it's done. You know, I got all the new stickers here riveted on, all the warning stickers, everything in there. But I think she turned out great. I rattle canned the brake lever, but I did throw clear coat on these panels here, just because there was no paint. It's just the plastic, and it came out great. It's got just a little tiny sheen to it, but yeah, this is pretty much it for this bike. Just a nice stock Honda Rancher AT. So thanks for watching.